Fluch Von Novgorod is the Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter at Hansa Park in North Germany. This ride is really cool. It's an indoor-outdoor ride, features one inversion, and one of the fastest launches in the world. It accelerates you from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 1.4 seconds. It is really quick, and you feel that punch as you're shooting out of that tunnel. This is giving you my full in-depth look at the ride. Now, of course, because it is an indoor-outdoor roller coaster, most of the parts that I was able to physically show you are the sections that are outside. So unfortunately, the best way to really get an understanding for this ride is actually physically going out and riding it yourself. Because the whole second half of this ride that is indoors, it's really kind of hard to tell what's going on, but I'll do my best to walk you guys through it. Now, as with a lot of roller coasters in Europe, this one is very well themed. Novgorod is actually a city in Russia, and that's what this entire ride experience is themed to, as a very cool show that you watch right as you depart the station. It's very medieval-like, and you definitely get a sense of that as you're watching that little pre-show because you see knights there, and they're given some elaborate backstory. Unfortunately, it is not in English, so I actually have no idea what it was talking about, but it was very intimidating because they had this loud pumping music through it. It was sweet. So very cool way to set the tone for the ride. As with all Eurofighters, this vehicle only seats 8 people. It is 2 rows, 4 across. That allows the ride to do very tight turns, and so a lot of this ride has very quick transitions. The best ride in America that I would probably compare this to is actually Mystery Mine at Dollywood, but this is just on a whole nother level. I'm not the biggest fan of Mystery Mine, but I am a huge fan of Fluch Von Novgorod. I think it fixes every single problem that Mystery Mine has, and the level of theming is even better. So like I said, when you depart that station, you're getting your first of 2 little pre-shows. That's right before you launch out. It's this ghost that appears and actually starts singing, and then you take this left-hand turn and you go into your second show scene, and it's an animatronic of what looks to be a monk. He's kind of given some backstory telling you what my guess would be, you gotta get out of here, it's not safe, something like that. And so then you immediately accelerate out. And let me just say, this completely caught me off guard. I didn't watch a POV of this ride beforehand, so I was very surprised that it just immediately took off right after that show scene. And I didn't know that there was a second part of the ride that included a vertical lift hill right after that door section. So this ride just was completely surprising to me left and right. I'm so glad that I barely knew anything about this coaster before I rode it. But anyways, getting to that outdoor portion, after you accelerate, you quickly transition to the right and go up a top hat. That is not the tallest point of the ride. The 131 feet that you see is actually from the vertical lift hill in the second part. I'm not exactly sure how tall the top hat is. So you drop from there, you go into this banking turn, transition almost into a double helix. It kind of looks like a cobra roll if you laid it out on the ground. So it doesn't go upside down or anything. However, there is one inversion on this coaster, and it goes upside down right after that. It's straight over the pathway. Very fun element, and that takes you into the brake run. And as I mentioned, I didn't know about the whole second part of the ride, so when we hit that brake run, I was like, oh, that was sweet. Is the ride over? You start climbing up this vertical lift hill, and about halfway up, you stop. Now, this does not do the Canon trick, but I do find it hilarious that both of the main roller coasters at Hansa Park have vertical lift hills that stop you about halfway to do some sort of cool feature. On Fluch Von Novgorod, you stop halfway and you see another one of those monks, and he tells you something in German. Again, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but the way they do these in order to have the moving mouths is they put in what looks to be a mannequin head and then actually project a face onto it. They do this with both of the monk-like figures at the beginning and at the end of the ride. So it's a very interesting technique, but I think it works. Unfortunately, because of the videos that we're showing you, which big thanks to Coaster Force for providing the POV for this video, you can't really tell that they're actually projecting a face onto it. It just kind of looks like a white blur, but it's much easier to tell what it is when you're actually on it. You climb all the way up, and then you go into your beyond vertical drop. That is your max height. The big drop, again, it's completely indoors, so you can't really see it in this POV just because it's so dark in there. I mean, I had no idea any of that was happening. I didn't know what elements were coming next. I didn't even know that had a beyond vertical drop. And because it's so dark in there, you don't really get a sense of what is happening. But after that vertical drop, you pretty much just go into a bank turn and then into the brake run. The second half is not super long. The first half, like up until that first brake run after the inversion, that's definitely definitely the longest portion of the ride, but this is still awesome. I mean, this is a great ending to a ride. You're ending with a bang. It's not a slow meandering turn into a helix or something dumb like that. And so then you come back into the station, and that is when you're saying, man, that ride was awesome. I want to go again. And so naturally, you're gonna want to go again, which is exactly what we did. I got several rides on Fluch Von Novgorod, and I loved every single one of them. This was a big surprise to me. I was not expecting to like this ride so much. I knew almost nothing about it going in, and this was definitely one of my favorite coasters that I rode in Europe. However, the experience does not really end after you get off the ride, because the exit is so weird. When you depart the station, you have to go down some stairs, or you can go down the fun way. There is a freaking slide at the exit. You can just slide down onto the ground. It is so weird. I mean, it's not a very long slide, but it is so strange. We saw it and we were like, what the heck? There's a slide here. It was really funny. So yeah, you can go down the stairs or you can take the slide, which is the much more fun route. And then it gets weirder. After you go down the slide or down those stairs, you're taking the exit and it's a maze. You just start twisting and turning through all these tight corners as you're walking through, and it is so strange. It is long too. It takes forever to get out of this thing. It was bizarre because there weren't any scare actors in there. I really feel like there should have been scare actors, and I don't know, maybe there are if the park is busy. When we went, it was pretty dead. No one was there. So it wasn't a big surprise that there weren't scare actors thing, but still, it was so strange. It takes several minutes to get out of the station back into the park. The only other ride I can think of that does anything remotely similar to that is Walking Dead the ride at Thorpe Park. It's just very different. I'm not sure how I felt about it. I think if it had scare actors in it, I would have liked it a lot more. It just seemed very random. That's okay because the experience as a whole was awesome. This is a fantastic ride. Believe me when I say the Gerstlauers in Europe, I don't know what it is. They're just so much better than the ones in America. Gerstlauer was never one of my favorite manufacturers just because all the ones I rode in America were like, okay, you know, they're solid. But I don't know what it is. Both this and Canon are fantastic, and then you have Carajo and the Smiler. There's so many great Gerstlauers in Europe, and this is definitely one of the best. I think they knocked it out of the park with this ride. It's got one of the most unique layouts out there. Everything about it is not what you expect. So yes, this is an absolutely must ride. So for its final score, I'm giving Fluch Von Novgorod a 10 out of 10. I think it is so much fun. That launch is very forceful and intense. The layout is quirky. The theming is awesome. I mean, it's not Canon level, but it is still very good. Better theming than most rides in America. It's not rough or jerky. It's just an all-around good coaster. But I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Fluch Von Novgorod at Hansa Park in Germany? Let me know if you've ridden it, if you agree with my thoughts. Be sure to post all those down in the comment section below. And of course, stay tuned for more coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios. I'll catch you guys next time.